Why do some astronauts come back from space and instinctively avoid ever repeating that journey? Some have even confessed that after seeing Earth just once, they never dared to look back again. So, what exactly did they witness? And what could possibly frighten them? Compared to the unknown abyss of Thuniverse, when you face this floating star, blue planet, time in the dark of the universe is terrifyingly fragile. This is the chief executive effect, a soul torture from the perspective of God. This is where it all began. And you can not only see the magnificent mountains and rivers to see the scars of the Earth more clearly. That's the twist left by the billions of bombings of the universe bullet hole. That's the crust of the Earth deep in the face, veins torn by violent power. Every scar is silently telling how terrible the blood and fire have been. And these mysterious rings spread all over the world. No ordinary geological wonder. They are the codes of a lost civilization, is the seal of prehistoric cataclysm, or the ultimate imprint of the cycle of life. Throw you into space. Today, the ultimate astronaut perspective to read these engravings, epic scars etched on the surface of a planet. In our first battle, we'll focus on the weirdest of all scars, the one that chills the back the most, a giant eye that gazes into the endless void forever. Go back in time to the early 1960s AT. That time, humans had just stepped off the Earth, stepping into the final frontier of space. June 3, 1965, the Gemini 4 spacecraft is traveling through the sky. Astronaut James McDivitt and Edward White are on their space mission when they spacewalk outside the spacecraft. And they notice something odd. There's something underfoot, in the heart of the vast and desolate Sahara Desert, a huge eye staring at them from the Earth's like a weathered sentinel, forever gazing into the dark abyss of space. This is a distance that humans have never reached. Only from here can you see his full picture. This is called the Richard structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara. This is a circular feature up to 40 kilometers in diameter, nearly perfect circlites, layered loops, if carved by time. Gemini 4 brought back his image, and the scientific community was shocked by this. Countless research and expeditions have flocked here. They all hope to uncover his secrets. In the years that followed, everyone is confused about him, baffled by his weird symmetry. Theories are popping up around the world. Is he a scar from a cosmic impact, or a mysterious gateway to a lost civilization, or something even more inexplicable? And one of the boldest guesses was born. It was suggested that Richard structure may be the legendary lost name Atlantis. However, subsequent studies have refuted this possibility. The origin of this geological wonder is actually more complex. It was formed by Earth's own terrestrial activity. First geologists suspected he is almost perfectly round his raised forehead, and the sunken center. This is all like a meteor impact crater. But after decades of intensive research, the theory was refuted due to the lack of sufficient evidence of melted rock at the scene. And that's usually the sign of a cosmic collision. Finally, the truth was revealed. Satellite imagery from NASA and other agencies gave the answer. We now know that it's a geological dome being lifted up. His travels date back 100 million years. That's when Pangea was breaking up. The tremendous tension in the Earth's crust formed countless faults and weak points. It makes the land deep. The hot magma can gush upward. One of the magma intrusions took place here, happened below today's Eye of the Sahara. Huge fleece cover pushed hundreds of millions of tons of rock upward. Eventually, a huge dome formed after millions of years of wind and water erosion. The top of the dome is covered with glass, revealing the childlike circles we see today. But here's what's really interesting. Archaeological research has made new discoveries. There was evidence of human activity. Discovered a large number of Acheulean periods, those iconic ovals, pear-shaped hand, axe, they all related to the ancient Homo erectus. What about the legend of Atlantis? The ancient Greek philosopher Plato once described him around 360 BC. It said it was an advanced civilization located outside the Strait of Gibraltar. Its capital consists of alternating land and waterings. This sounds indeed. It is strikingly similar to the Eye of the Sahara. Because of this, many people are still full of hope to connect the two. But the existence of Atlantis has never been confirmed. Most scholars believe it's just a fictional prophecy. The story is fascinating, but the origin of the Eye of the Sahara science is settled. Now let's go back even further in time. About 2 billion years ago, a giant asteroid is hurtling towards Earth at high speed. It crashed near what is now South Africa, formed the largest known on Earth, the oldest crater. His name was Friedberg at a T first. Scientists believe that the object that hit him was about 15 kilometers in diameter. The speed is 15 kilometers per second. But here's the interesting thing. The follow-up study completely overturned him. The world's largest crater, it's actually bigger than expected after 2 billion long years of erosion. His original form is beyond measure. Scientists recalculated and found that the diameter of the original impact crater may be more than 250 kilometers. To form such a terrifying impact crater, that asteroid is at least 25 kilometers in diameter. The speed should reach more than 20 kilometers per second. The impact was so powerful he made the crust 25 kilometers after the impact center completely flipped. These flipped rock formations eroded at different rates. And we ended up with today. The concentric pattern, we can still see its energy far exceeds that of 66 million years ago, the impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. If the energy of the Friedberg impact really stronger, he could have even more catastrophic global consequences. The Earth 2 billion years ago, very different from the age of dinosaurs. There were no animals. There were no forests. Life is still in its simplest form, and oxygen in the atmosphere is just starting to accumulate. But this giant annular scar stitched together forever on our planet, he reminds us all the time how powerful is the force from beyond. But the next circle is completely different. His cause did not come from space. It doesn't come from the Earth itself. If there's a Taranaki in New Zealand, that himself, it's a near-perfect cone volcano. However, from the sky, the most striking, it's the perfect circle at the bottom of him, that a well-defined circle made of forest. The appearance of this circle completely a product of human activity 700 years ago when humans arrived in New Zealand. Here most of the area is covered by dense forests. In the 19th century, European settlers are coming in order to open up pastures. There was massive deforestation. Eventually, about half of New Zealand's land transformed into grasslands. But only one place has been preserved. This is the area around Mount Taranaki. The government aims to prevent floods and coastal erosion. A protected area was set aside around Thipi. Kit was established as a national park in 1900. This is Egmont National Park. Asterisk is defined as a perfect circle centered on the top of a mountain, radius 10 kilometers. The forests beyond the borders were almost completely cleared, and within the boundaries it preserves lush virgin forests. Therefore, this amazing scene can be seen from space. Dark green circular forest in stark contrast to the surrounding pastures, as if with a giant compass. Masterpieces drawn on Earth. For the Maori, he is not a mountain, he is a sacred ancestor. Extraordinary meaning. In recent years, they have passed the legislative process, officially endowed the mountain legal personality. Let him be like a human being, own your own rights and obligations. But here's the irony. He is a volcano. The last major eruption was in 1655. From a volcanological perspective, according to his historical cycle, he also in an active state that could erupt again at any time. And when he did erupt, likely to destroy this, the perfect ring created to protect him. Now we come to northeastern Argentina. In the marshy marshes of the Parana Delta, there is a strange circular tutorial. He sits in an equally perfect circle in the lake. His name is Lojo. It means eyes. Legend has it that there is a UFO hidden in his depths. After all, for alien spacecraft, it's a perfectly shaped garage. However, the weirdest thing about this ring, not a legend, it's that he moves, that it's clearly visible from satellite imagery. This eye will rotate clockwise around its own axis over time. Its position will change significantly. And here's the drama. It was discovered by a filmmaker. 2016 Argentine director Sergio Noyes Pillar while searching for a filming location for a supernatural movie on the satellite map, and stumbled upon this curious structure. He was fascinated by the island, which is 188 meters in diameter, an almost perfect circle. It floats in the clear lake water in stark contrast to the murky swamp that surrounds it. The origin of this eye, the current best scientific explanation is it is formed by the combination of bluestone and water flow. Circular currents propel the island to spin. The edge of the island is constantly rubbing against the lake shore. Over time, both have been shaped into near-perfect prototypes. This process similar to ice discs formed in rivers. However, the exact time of his formation remains unclear. This also makes this eye became on our list one of the youngest and most mysterious rings. Now let's talk about the deadliest ring. He forever changed the course of life on Earth 66 million years ago. An asteroid about 10 kilometers in diameter at speeds in excess of 25 kilometers per second crashed into today's Mexico. The impact released a tremendous amount of energy that's 10,000 times the world's nuclear arsenal in an instant. Huge amounts of dust and gas thrown into the atmosphere left by the impact. It's a crater about 200 kilometers in diameter. His name is Chicxulub. That he caused a global catastrophe. The climate has become extremely unstable, dust suspended in the atmosphere. Obscurescent light causes the plant's photosynthesis to stop completely. The impact and its aftermath ultimately led to 75% of species on Earth are extinct. These include the dinosaurs that ruled the Earth for years until the 1970s. Scientists have just discovered their first clue. They were in the rock formations of Belcatacet. Understanding discovered high levels of element 1. This element is very rare in Earth rocks, but it's pretty common in asteroids. This theory was finally confirmed in the early 1990s. Geophysicists, while exploring for Pemex, discovered Chicxulub crater itself. Until recently, scientists have solved the last mystery. So where did that asteroid come from? By analyzing the chemical traces left by Thimpactit, turns out it's a carbon chondrite. This is one of the oldest known asteroid types, formed in the early days of the solar system. These asteroids mainly come from beyond the orbit of Jupiter. The asteroid belt is the birthplace of this deadly killer. No, most of the crater has been buried by layer-soft limestone, but his remains are still visible on the surface. One composed of countless natural and archival wells and caves sketching the edges of the crater. Witness the event that changed the Earth, the catastrophe of fate. Finally, we look to the depths of the ocean. Off the coast of Belize, there is a huge circular abyss about 300 meters in diameter up to 125 meters deep. Nearly perfect circlites called the Great Blue Hole. That it's not just a wonderland for marine life, hidden the secrets of a lost civilization. Its formation began during the last Ice Age. Sea levels were much lower than they are now. This used to be a giant terrestrial lime rock cave system. With the end of the riverfront era sea level rise, the cave is submerged by seawater, and eventually the ceiling collapsed, shaped what we see today. This giant underwater sinkhole. In 2018, a team of underwater vehicles probed the bottom of the Great Blue Hole. They mapped its interior in 3D. In the depths, they found stalactites that are found online terrestrial caves. This confirms that he was once a dry. They also found a conch burial ground, hundreds of conch. It seems that after falling into the hole, it cannot climb out, that he died from lack of oxygen. And here's what's even creepier. They also found the remains of a missing diver. However, what I find most interesting is not Thimpactit, was his attempt to solve the mystery of a lost world provides crucial clues. Mayan civilization, it reached its peak between 250 and 900 AD, but then it mysteriously declined. Scientists analyzed the Great Blue Hole bottom sediment. New discovery in the 9th and 10th centuries. That's when the Maya civilization was in decline. Rainfall in the area has dropped sharply. In other words, a severe, prolonged drought, likely to cause key factors in the collapse of the classical Mayan civilization. In addition, scientists also speculate that the sedimentary layer at the bottom of the Great Blue Hole, it's like a climate history of the Earth. By analyzing these extinctions, the future may be able to rebuild over the past few thousand years a more detailed history of climate change. Tropical cyclones, for example, that's how we change the frequency and intensity of hurricanes. This kind of research IT holds promise for understanding current climate trends. Forecasting future extreme weather events provide valuable historical evidence, but further research in this area is still being explored. Our journey to the circle of space, and there was a full stop on the surface, and the rings are just peculiar images. But actually, every huge clues to the history of our planet. They illuminated the geology of the Earth, and even the evolution of culture. The like the scars on a soldier. Each one tells a story, or a magnificent story, or tragic war stories. And these circular scars of the Earth, it tells a story that spans thousands of years, even hundreds of millions of years of epics. They connect. What rises up is the story of our planet. It's a remarkable story.